And going once, going twice. All right, well, thank you, Julie. Appreciate those comments and what you're doing. What a great service you're providing to companies. All right, Lisa and Mindy, you are up next. You're about ready? Before, if you don't mind, go ahead and share your screen. I want to remind everybody to let our presenters know, or those at ESA, that you're interested in engaging with them for further conversation. So you'll share your screen and we will let you have 15 minutes, and you know the drill now. Afterwards, we'll cut you off and you got 10 minutes Q&A. So take it away.
Sounds good.
Thank you. Hi, I'm Mindy Corporon, and I'm co-founder of Workplace Healing.
And I'm Lisa Cooper, co-founder of Workplace Healing. And I have to add, before, as we get started, with Julie's fourth pillar of empathy, we're training leadership to be empathetic in the corporate world. That's our objective. But I think the best way to articulate what Workplace Healing is doing is to really share a story. So allow me 1 minute to share a quick story on what we're doing and how it can relate. We had a situation where a trusted, seasoned, long-term employee came back after bereavement leave. She had a 5-day bereavement leave and her husband had passed away. She came back to work, she had a cubicle, her entire team was in shock. No one knew what to say. Some people would rush in and give her a hug, others just stood back, frankly, and said nothing. She felt very alienated. She had made some significant mistakes at work in the first month coming back after bereavement leave. She was quiet, and then nobody invited her to lunch anymore. The happy hours, she was not included. People were afraid to talk about their families. They were afraid that they might hurt her feelings or remind her that her husband had passed away. So the bottom line was the team did nothing. The vice president ended up taking her to lunch. Her manager that she reported to was wondering what was wrong. It was 2 weeks and she wasn't back to normal yet. A few months later, she looked for another job and thought perhaps she could have a fresh start somewhere else. So she left the company after being there more than 10 years with a very strong track record and started fresh somewhere else. Her manager, her vice president, and her team just didn't have the tools. They didn't know how to respond to this woman when she came back after bereavement leave. And this is the problem that we're solving in corporate America. So we like to look at the prevalence of grief in the workplace. When we talk about grief, the numbers are just staggering. 1 in 4 employees is grieving at any given time. And we look at the numbers of people working in corporate America. You can see here that the numbers are very high, 4 million employees experiencing the death of a loved one. And the thing that we're really focusing on with the C-suite and the retention and everything that is going on right now in our world is that 59% of employees, when they come back to work after a bereavement, after a grief event, they're going to consider looking for another job if they don't feel supported by their team. So retention is incredibly affected when you look at grief. We also want to say that we look at the numbers in corporate America. $113 billion are spent on lost productivity and errors, which is very significant. So how can we support these employees but train managers on what to do? When we started Workplace Healing back in July of 2018, we started out with focus groups and we interviewed key HR leaders and C-suite leaders with companies ranging from 55 employees to 55,000 employees. And we found four common threads. Number one, the HR departments are seeking solutions to fill employee engagement. I think we just heard from Julie, it's just one of those examples. And a lot of times the existing solutions to help employees are lacking, specifically with employee assistance plans. We know that most of the companies that we're speaking to do indeed have employee assistance plans. In fact, 98% of companies across the country do. But the fact is they're underutilized and the utilization rate is around 7% right now. So clearly the solutions aren't working and there's not a lot of metrics to define success with those EAPs. And as I articulated in the story, nobody knows what to do when someone comes back to work. Nobody knows what to say. So therefore nothing happens and then an employee feels alienated. We found over the course again of all our research from 2018 to fall of 2021, we were building our software, that there's clearly a need for a 24/7 on-demand tool. Because what we found was that we could go into corporate America and we could talk about empathy training and we could train managers, but 6 months later, when an employee has a personal life disruption, they need a quick solution, and they need a solution any time of the day. So we created the B2B SaaS tool, the Human Recovery Plan software platform.
Thanks, Lisa. So we don't have time to show you a full demo, but I'm going to show you some slides and give you a walkthrough of what our software does look like. So our software is in use right now. We are onboarding our 7th client very shortly. And we launched our software in February of 2022. So we started building it last summer and it's already in use. And it's working really well. It's very intuitive. So this is a screenshot of what a plan builder would see. And I'll give you a definition of a plan builder. A plan builder could be a manager, a supervisor, someone in human resources. A plan builder could be a colleague. A plan builder is someone at the company who knows that there's been a grieving person, a life disrupted person on their team, and they need encouragement, they need a touch, they need acknowledgement to help pull them in for what we call a soft landing rather than a hard landing when they come back into the workspace. On the right-hand side of every screen are messaging, messages and education to, as Art mentioned, to increase and build the empathy muscle of the plan builder. And so we are working right now in our minimal viable product. So it's our MVP, and we started using and started the software with the death scenarios and death lane. It's our expectation to add to this in the software architecture, but right now this is what our current clients are using. So there are 11 selections for a type of death that has occurred. And then you can see on the right-hand side, we continue to have educational and empathy comments for education. So this is the hub. This is our build. This is the heart of what we do. And the question that was asked, would we collaborate with Golden? This is where that would fit in. So in the event we were to collaborate with anyone, we would put this up here. Right now we have something called Spark One Head Tactics. So this is where we could do collaboration with different organizations. But specifically, I want to point out on the head-based side of what you're seeing, which is on the left-hand side, this is where the employer gets to shine and say, look to their plan builder, this is what we already offer. You know, for instance, this is what client A already offers. So please use this service. It could be an EAP. It could be specific health insurance. It could be that they use Golden, right? So they can create, we would create a customized tactic card. That's what we call these on the left side, because that's company based. So our whole scenario here is to be head and heart based. It's an empathetic approach, but we also understand return on investment is needed at every company. So we want to give our plan builder permission to talk about what's going to happen at work. And we want our plan builder to also be able to implement acknowledgement in an empathetic way. On the right-hand side, you will see that there are what we call empathy tactic cards, and we have over 28 empathy offers. And then a plan is built by clicking and selecting what our plan builder wants to use. And then we're going to move forward into how we onboard. Thanks, Lisa.
Thanks, Mindy. So when we look at how we're selling this into corporate America, if you'll recall on our research, we said that 25% of your employees are grieving. So 1 in 4 employees are grieving at any given time. So we start out and we say, when we did our research, we had so much feedback from literally across the board saying, don't price this like an employee assistance plan. Don't price this on a per employee basis. So we're pricing this on a human recovery plan per human basis. In other words, $50 per plan. And we sell them in an annual subscription contract with our clients. And I often just anecdotally add, if you were to buy a flower arrangement for a grieving employee, you would probably spend $65 to $70. So it kind of puts it in perspective here. So our plans that, as Mindy mentioned, the plan builder builds, the corporate leader of the HR department or the manager builds is $50 a plan. And you can see if you're the CEO and you have 1,000 employees, we would like you to purchase 250 plans on an annual subscription basis. They don't expire. And it's kind of like the old days of cell phone minutes. They never expire and they continue to roll over if they haven't used them all. We are finding that companies specifically are adding more as time goes on. And real quick on that back slide on the efficient onboarding, I do want to say that we're onboarding our clients now, and the process is truly threefold and very simple. We have a leadership discussion with the C-suite, the CHRO, the HR departments. We talk about how the Human Recovery Plan launch is going to occur, internal launch, for example, announcing it in company newsletters. Some companies have said they want us to participate in an event at their company to announce this new benefit that they're implementing. And then we do software platform training. It's very simple. And frankly, in about 15 minutes, our clients they've got it downloaded and they know what to do. We think it's very important to measure exactly what we're doing. And it's very important to us to go to a client a year from now and say, here's what a home run looks like for you. So before a client, even a plan builder, even builds a plan, we ask them their confidence level in dealing with a griever. What we've seen is they start out about 0-1, and by the end of the process, they reach a 5, which is 100%. We ask them their access to a personalized plan for that griever that really meets that specific need. And again, they start low and they end high when they finish the plans. We also work with our clients at I mentioned the leadership training to have utilization reporting. So if you're the CEO, the CHRO, you can go into your company and see how many plans have been built, what desk scenarios they've selected, and even drill down in terms of the demographics so we can begin to look back and say, this is what your company is selecting. And the process is has been very simple and very efficient. We're also going back in and asking clients to give us a Net Promoter Score. So these are the clients to date that we have. Mindy mentioned that we started selling plans in the spring. So right now we have these 7 clients right now. They're in various stages of onboarding. I will say that Cohen Essery, for example, was our first client, commercial real estate and real estate here in Kansas City. And if you have some time on our blogs, on our article page, they recently had a death of a coworker scenario occur. And quite frankly, we could not have gotten through the event without the help of workplace healing. I'll add also that we have 60 clients in our sales funnel right now, ready to move over to eventual sales. And again, we're company direct. We do not work with brokers. We're working directly with companies.
I want to end with letting you know that this was created because of a tragedy that happened in my personal life. I was the CEO and co-founder of a wealth management firm. And at the time I was in that position, my father and son were both murdered in Overland Park, Kansas. And I went back to work to an office that I had actually created. I went back to a team that I had put together, and they tried very hard to help me have a soft landing. But it was very, very difficult. And I realized, unfortunately, that I wasn't going to be able to stay in that position. And I had a lot of flexibility to be able to do so. So I took that tragedy and the skill set of being an entrepreneur and running a company, and unfortunately the skill set of being a griever, to creating and giving the idea of what workplace healing could be. So workplace healing is innovatively increasing confidence and empathy and strengthening empathy muscle in the workplace. Thank you. Thanks, Art.
Thank you.